Today on this Warhammer 40K competitive battle report, we have the Thousand Sons Grand Coven versus the Tyranid Subterranean Assault. So if you're wondering how these two armies match up against each other, you're going to want to stick around. Because I'm going to take this 3-hour game. We're going to get it down into roughly 20 minutes, giving you what worked, what didn't work, and passing that knowledge on to you. So let's get started here. Of course, I'd always like to preface, I know we got a lot of Necron homies in the house, but if you are a T-Sun player, you're a Tyranid player, you're a Marine player, whatever player you are, I still think you're going to get a lot of value out of this video today. I'm going to be breaking down a lot of broad tactics and strategies, really trying to focus on deployment and turn 1 and turn 2 moves, because I think that's where you can make a lot of your critical mistakes that are going to cascade in the later part of the game and cause you more problems. I'm going to highlight some things today because this is going to be a really good one, I think, to watch and some things to look out for. So let's get into it here. So we have Lichpin today, Tipping Point, and Layout 4, which I have not played yet as the Subterranean. And running the same list, haven't changed it for the most part. Everything has felt really good, and I think I'm at a point now where I'm just like, hey, I just kind of want to learn the list, learn the deployments, learn what the damage potential is, all those things. And I think this is like a good learning opportunity for maybe people that are new to the game or new to 10th edition that are maybe watching this today. Don't, if you lose a game, don't get so hung up on like, oh, this list sucks or this is just terrible. Really try to reflect back, take pictures if you can. I know I have somewhat of a nicer setup, but honestly, when I first started, I just literally took my iPhone, and I cannot tell you how much that will impact and help your games going forward if you're able just taking picture deployment before the game starts and being able to go back to those pictures and reflect. I would not be as good of a player as I am now without doing that. I think it just makes you just exponentially better being able to reflect back on these games like this. And, that's why I love doing these reports as well, just because it genuinely helps you guys as much as it does me. So without going on a huge tangent about that, let's talk about this here. So going into the matchup, especially if you're a beginner player, the one thing that I'm always thinking about before I even put my pieces on the table is game plan, okay? And what I mean by game plan is looking at specifically today Thousand Sons and reflecting on, okay, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? So T-Suns, I'm going to be honest right now, they got a lot of strengths, okay? They do a lot of damage. They're probably one of the most lethal shooting armies, if not the most lethal shooting army, maybe outside of Death Guard in the game right now. They can one-shot anything basically they want at will. And they have a decent number of units now. I will say they don't have a ton. So board control isn't necessarily the best with T-Suns, but they have very good maneuverability. OC is relatively okay. I wouldn't say it's bad, but they don't have the strongest board controller. They don't necessarily want to commit a lot of things early. So me as a Tyranid player, I'm going to try to look for ways to maybe exploit that and use some of those tactics to my advantage. So when we're talking about deployment here, this is right off the bat. I made a couple slight errors that I want to talk about to you guys before we actually get into the game here. So the first thing is with the Gene Stealer. So if you notice here that we're playing at Tipping Point, okay? So you can see here the marked on the boards, which is really nice. Shout out to Game Mat. They hooked it up with these mats. They're freaking great. If you play competitive Warhammer or just even casual games, they're just great for just setting up the table. No complaints. They're great. So playing on Tipping Point, the Gene Stealers I did not really utilize to their full effectiveness, where I had them deployed right here, where they should have been deployed right up on the line in this corner right here. And the reason for that is it gives me flexibility to either scout this way or scout this way, or it allows me to scout forward and use them as a very aggressive resource turn 1 to potentially lock up some units, which I'm going to talk about here, okay? So That was the most glaring, I think, mistake in my deployment. And then I think potentially maybe the Hormagaunts could have switched with the Gargoyles. Everything else felt pretty good. These are the main units, the Lictors, the Hormagaunts, all of the front forward units are going to be, those are the units that are always going to change depending on the deployment. For the most part, all of these units back here are going to be pretty much the same in any deployment that you see. Hive Tyrant's going to be generally in the center. Zone Throps are going to be able to threaten maybe some lanes turn one. You got Raveners in the back so they don't get shot. Or Specs, that sort of thing, so you have the flexibility to pick them up. Okay. So going into this game, let's flip over to the report, shall we? So this was a very good game, very close game, very just neck and neck all the way through. No challenger cards. We love to see it. So going into this game, you're going to notice that the Norn is not on the battlefield. We don't have the Norn on the battlefield. We don't have the Hive Guard. We don't have the Trigon, and we don't have the Neurogaunts. Now, the reason for the Norn not being on the field, and the main reason is because T-Suns can just one-shot him. So if I deploy him like back here, right, and I move him up turn one, you have to ask yourself, what does that accomplish? Not much, because of the fact that T-Suns are just going to shoot him, and I'm just going to lose a Norn turn one. Okay, so this is a really good matchup where there's a lot of learning for me because T-Suns are in a very cool spot where they have very good Overwatch threats, some of the best in the game. The Tyranids do not love, and they have the ability to just one-shot a Norn turn one, which a lot of armies can't necessarily do. Mid-game, for sure, but when you're talking about turn one putting a Norn on a point, a lot of armies can't really shift enough resources over, especially with like some sort of move block happening, that they can reliably kill a Norn turn one, and that kind of helps solve our primary problem, especially when we're going first. But I don't have really the luxury to do that in this matchup and on this board, okay? So going into turn one here, we are going to get extend battle lines and secure no man's land. Now, I have talked about a ton on this channel. I'm going to just fast forward here to the end of turn one, that you do not want to go up more than 6 points on turn one, because the reason is you do not want to give your opponent a free challenger card. So if you're wondering like, yo, why did you not like put this Spore Mine on this objective to get an extra secure? Well, the reason for that is because if I go up by 9 points, he's going to score 3 points on secondary and then get a challenger card. I don't love it, but it is what it is right now, okay? This is what we signed up for. This is what we're playing. I digress, all right? So we're going to get extend battle line, secure no man's land for baby, 6 points. And this is essentially the board state turn one, and this is one of the biggest things that I want to talk about, okay? So these goat boys right here have a scout, okay? So Bryce was very smart in terms of scouting these units back behind the wall for a couple reasons. One, it projects, it's a longer threat range for me to obviously reach these units. And then also I can't get any sort of cheeky gargoyle fire and fade the first turn. So Kylan was still like, this is like the first day where I felt like somewhat better after this cold this past week. And the gargoyle movement, it highlights it. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to like move up these gargoyles. Yeah, they're going to fire and fade. I'll put the lictor there, and then we'll be good. And then I genuinely did not realize till the shooting phase was hilarious. It's like, wait, the gargoyles, they don't have anything to shoot at. I don't know if I maybe could have like moved a gargoyle to edge like this line here. Maybe. I'm not sure because the gargoyles have 18-inch range, so that is a possibility now that I'm looking at it. But it's whatever. I told Bryce, I was like, dude, don't worry about it. Let's just keep playing, man. It's fine. We're just practicing. So, and they're also on the objective too, because I thought I was going to be able to like fire and fade them. So that was also hilarious. So gargoyles move up here, and this is what I was talking about where I do not think this was the best play I could have done. So in hindsight, you're going to notice here that these Gene Stealers scouted over, like we talked about, over to this objective. Now, what I want to talk about is because myself going first, what I could have done, especially on this layout, is gargoyles move up 8, okay, gets them to like right here, right? Then they move up another 8, right? And that gets them probably like right about here. And then now they have a 4-inch charge to the goats turn 1. So that was like a big mistake on my part. And the other thing too is the fact that I could probably charge, like even if I get an average charge, like a 6 or a 7. I just want to zoom in here to kind of show you guys some really cool stuff to look out for. So because he has these 2 units right here, right? You could charge in and swing potentially these Gene Stealers over, and then all of a sudden he has both of these units locked turn 1. Okay. So big missed opportunity on my part. You don't need to kill them. I didn't need the Gene Stealers. I mean, of course they'll go in, do some damage. They'll be annoying, but I don't know if he really has enough attacks to actually wipe the squad, especially with a 5-up invul. And then you tie up all of this stuff that wants to go out and do something turn 1. So that was like one of the biggest, I think, errors that I saw myself do in turn 1. I think the other thing was the Spore Mine here should have maybe gone over here. And I need to do a better job of remembering to ask my opponent, okay, what is your movement? Add 3 inches onto that, and then just stay outside of that. And then it prevents them from being able to at least just move up and just deny the Spore Mine. They actually have to move and shoot at it, or advance, move and then shoot it out in their shooting phase. So it could have prevented like him being able to advance here, like a lot of different things. Because the main reason I dropped the Spore Mine here was to prevent any sort of like deep strike with his crystal unit. But at the end of the day, I think I'm just okay with if he wants to drop them in and kill some Hormigons and just lose that whole unit or kill a Lictor. I think I'm okay with that. And then just using like the gargoyles or something else the next turn to go after stuff. I think. I'd have to see. It'd be interesting to see that. But that's essentially the first turn. Just wanted to highlight those things because that's why you guys are here. Some of the things I could have done better. And then going into bottom of turn 1 for Bryce is going to get extend battle lines and overwhelming force. So great pull for him first turn because we were a dummy and put these gargoyles on the objectives. So that's going to be a free 3 points for him. And extend battle lines is going to be easy. Just going to hold this one and this one. Okay. So we're going to fast forward here, and you're going to see how this kind of unfolds. So because I didn't lock up that unit, the goats are going to be able to push up. Then he's going to be able to temporal surge them to get them on the objective, and essentially, yeah, take it over. So he's going to deny my primary turn 1. So we're going to get a 3. So at this point now, here's where the second error comes into play. So I spend the CP reduction for the Hive Tyrant to pick up the Gene Stealers. So Gene Stealers go up in the air, and the plan is, so you guys can see this unfold, is on my turn we're going to get a 3 on primary. We're going to get cleanse and recover assets. So you know how much I love cleanse. I talk about it a lot on this channel, and that was the second biggest error I think I made in the game going into turn 2. So we bring out the Raveners. We do the classic combo, drop the Raveners in, create a tunnel, bring the Raveners over here, create a tunnel, and then we spend the CP to warp them through. I think actually maybe I actually used the CP reduction on this because they're within 12 inches of the Hive Tyrant. Let me get a bubble here. So the Raveners right here, they use their CP reduction, flipped it over there. And Gene Stealers are going to come out, and they are basically just going to do a 6-inch charge to these goats. Now, I totally forgot that the goats are T4. I thought they were T3, so that also like messed my head up with the math because I thought like 5 Gene Stealers going through because they didn't have Synapse right now because they're not on the battlefield. So the Neuro Tyrant could not give that to him because it's only in the command phase. So they were only strength 4, unfortunately. So what ended up happening was the Gene Stealers charged in, and they did not kill the goats. Unfortunately, there was 3 left. And so in hindsight, what I should have done is I should have also charged the Lictor in and just sacrificed cleanse for a CP because I needed that extra output to make sure that unit died. The biggest thing that I've noticed in Subterranean in like the few reps that I've gotten so far is if you leave these little units alive in the midfield, in the early game, it is like disastrous to your game plan. Like it causes so many problems, unfortunately. So these guys survive, and then we're going to go into bottom of turn 2. So Bryce is going to get a 3 on primary. He's going to get cleanse and then also tempting target. So we make the center tempting target just to have him push something out here. And then it's going to be a pretty straightforward turn. He's going to kill the Gene Stealers, probably kill a Lictor, kill, the Hormagaunts and Spore Mine, and call it a day. And the biggest thing, he doesn't really need to come out with any of his juicier targets. And that's what I really needed to kill these guys, because then at that point he needs to send either the Rhino or something else out to me for me to interact with it if he wants to deny this primary, right? So going into bottom of turn 2, we're going to see this play out. So he's going to shift up resources here. He's going to have Magnus, obviously laser the Gene Stealers. He's going to move up the Vortex Beast, and pretty straightforward stuff here. Okay, so you're going to see he cleans up everything that he needs to, and then it's going to go into my turn 3. Okay, so you can see here right now he is on all 3 objectives. Okay, I don't love that, and the problem is I would love to have this be kind of my push turn. I got 4 CP. We're basically ready to go. I'm probably going to spend a CP to bring up the Zoanthropes and really push. The problem is that I can't I can't interact with this objective how I want to, because these goat boys are here, unfortunately. So basically what we have to do is, I think the Hive Guard end up shooting off. Let's see. Let's go into turn 3. So turn 3, we get no prisoners and behind enemy lines. So we are going to pick up some units this turn. It's not a bad play, but now you're going to see basically everything come in. So because this unit was here, it really affected like where I wanted to drop, unfortunately. It really interrupted the game plan. So we ended up dropping in the Neurogaunts here. I do love this little 45-point unit. They're great. So they are going to be the unit that's going to interact with this unit here to get a charge off and just kind of be annoying. The Zoanthropes, the Hive Guard, are going to be shooting at this target here in the center, and then the Zoanthropes with the Trigon Prime should be enough to get rid of the Vortex Beast. The other tough part with T-Suns is they have a strat where they can get a 4-up Feel No Pain against psychic weapons. And, guess what? Zoanthropes, they be psychic. So makes the Vortex Beast extremely difficult to shift in this matchup. So and the other thing, too, is the Hive Guard. It's very, they're still effective, but because they couldn't go after a vehicle other than the Rhinos, they don't really get, huge value in this game. I mean, they are somewhat good about killing Marines and that sort of thing, but other than that, it's not, huge value. But essentially, this is what the board state looks like. So we are going to get a 5 on no prisoners in turn 3. Trigon Prime moves in, kills the Vortex Beast, and then we're going to go into bottom of turn 3. So Bryce is going to get Display of Might and Storm Hostile Objective. So pretty straightforward. He's going to move this up to get Storm, and then he's going to get Display of Might because he's going to have this is basically his push turn or pushing back. So he's going to move up the Vortex Beast. You're going to see him shift up a lot of resources now. Rhinos with Rubric Marines are going to come out. We rapid ingress a Norn right here because it is bottom of turn 3 and he has to come in. And he has too many targets to go after where he can't really go after the Norn here or afford to. And then he's just going to laser this Trigon. The Trigon is super dead. He killed the Vortex Beast, which is cool. But yeah, I think a little bit underutilized this game. So Trigon gets blasted into the freaking sun. And then this is basically going into turn 4. So turn 4, we're looking at the board here. The Norn is going to move up, be able to kill this Rubric squad, basically get the Norn on the point, and then we're basically going to try to kill this amount of all of this right here this turn. To try to limit how much damage that he has left to do. Okay. So going into the turn here, we are, let's see, we are going to bring, let's spin this out. So you're going to see this stuff shift up, and then we're going to try to push here one more time. So same type of ideas. Zone Throps are going to come out. Raveners are going to come out. And then this Horror Specs is going to come over, connect here, and then all of this is going to try to kill the Vortex Beast, which we do. We did a pretty good read about what our damage potential was, and there really wasn't much overkill. Like, we kind of killed it like right on the nose or a little bit over, which we like to see. So was fairly efficient there. And then the Norn just cleaned up that Rubric squad. And so we're in a somewhat of a decent spot. Still keeping it close despite kind of those early game mistakes. And we're going to just pass it over to him. So we're going to go bottom of turn 4. And he is going to get Mark for Death and Recover Assets. So he's just going to mark this Lictor. And then Recover Assets is going to be very easy. I mean, literally just like, this unit, like a Rhino, and he's good to go. And I think this was maybe the biggest error maybe I saw with Bryce, where I think he should have gone after the Norn because of, especially with like the Crystal squad as well. Because there's no way I can like interact with this objective where it's like you could have moved up these disc boys here to still screen this out. You're on the objective, or maybe it was sticky. I can't remember. But basically just being able to drop the Crystal squad in like here in a safe spot plus Magnus. And I'm pretty sure with all the dev wounds, like that should clean him up. I mean, maybe not, but, and then it would have prevented me from also like scoring primary that last turn. And then he can still get on all the objectives and he's cleaning house. But he definitely, Magnus pushing over this way, eliminated pretty much all of these resources here, which you're going to see that play out as expected. And the Norn survives. So going into top of turn 5, we're going to get an 8 on primary. And now we're basically just going to kill Magnus. We got Bring It Down and Assassination. So the cards are telling me just go kill Magnus, man. You got your primary, just kill Magnus. So we're basically just going to full send into this guy and see if we can get him. And we actually do. We get the Zone Throps, we get the Hive Guard, we get the Raveners, we get the Hive Tyrant. And then what was actually hilarious. So this maybe would have won me the game. Maybe not, actually. The Crystal Squad might have been able to kill the Norn, but there's no way I could have placed him. So the Norn fires 2 Melta shots at the Rhino. I roll 2 hits, and then I roll double 2s. So no wounds. I'm like, cool. Then the Norn charges. I'm like, dude, the Norn, into a Rhino. Like, he's got it, man. No. Doesn't even kill the Rhino, man. So I'm like, the Norn had to go off the objective because he did not kill the Rhino, which was hilarious. So then it opened up the door for him to basically get all 3 objectives here. At the end of the game, where I could have probably just had the Norn just stay on the objective, just in the pinch. Because, like, I guess thinking about it, yeah, there is, because the Norn being strength 10, he's only wounding on 3s, and then his extra attacks are wounding on 5. So I feel like it's like 50-50 if you kill probably a Rhino. Maybe it's a little bit better than that. So I probably should have just kept him on the objective in hindsight. But, dude, I was just thinking Norn, like, big scary monster. He's got to be able to pop a Rhino, right? But no, not today. Not today. So this is essentially, the end of the game. Bryce is going to get a 15 at the end. Bring It Down, Sabotage. So a nice 22-point bottom of turn score there, and edges it out 64-62 to the T-Suns. So very well played, and very good game. A lot of lessons. Like, I think I feel like I learned more in this game than like my last 4 games combined. Just with like so many different things and being able to maximize certain resources, especially with the gargoyles and stuff. So, as you see, my cough is still lingering, but excellent game. And if you stuck around this long, appreciate you watching. We'll catch you in the next one.